musicians are can still do it.
Yogi, last verse you did was Daipadi Yeshu Gunaway? Yeah. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Nilitanjana Tasmai Shri Gurudei Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swavadantikam. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. After my respect for the obeisances unto him. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Pandeham Shri Guru Shri Titapadkamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Cha Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. After my respect for the obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. After my respect for the obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami along with his older brothers Janata and Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta and Sri Jiva Goswami. After my respect for the obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda along with the Dvaita Charya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. After my respect for the obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dinabandhu, Jagatate, Gopesha, Gopika, Kanta, Radha, Kanta, Samurte. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respect for the obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Grandasaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. After my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavan. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Yevacha Patitama Bhavadeyo Vaishnaveyo Namo Namaha. After my respect for the obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, they can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for all the fallen souls. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Thank you for coming. Hare Krishna. What city are you coming from? No, your whole family. Sir?
Number 10.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you're here. Hare Krishna. Good to see you. Yogi said, asked me if I'd give class. I said, well, I don't know. He said, just Giri will be there. I said, well, okay, I can give class with just Giri's going to be there. We've all showed up here. It was like 50 years ago, this spring, I walked into the New Orleans temple and had been dropped off there by a Kundalini yogi. And I went to the Sunday feast, filled my belly like everybody else. Everybody else took off, and I was laying against the wall with a full belly. And Yogendra Vandana came up to me and he said, "May I help you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'd like to know what you know." And that's how it all started, with Yogi being very kind to me. So I stuck around and asked a lot of questions. Eventually headed west, and Vishnu Janaswamy shake me up. That's very nice.
Is it true, I don't know if it was a rumor or if it's true, was your father actually the dean of Notre Dame University? Or some
That's my uncle.
Huh?
That's my uncle.
That's your uncle?
Yeah, he's a head of the philosophy department in Notre Dame.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was an engineer.
Oh.
So anyways, thank you for coming. I mean, I really have to thank the pujaris. I mean, Shri Vigrahara Dhana Nityanana Shringaratan Mandira Marjanara. It's just an inspiration to be here in New Taliban. Such a long-lasting project. I was thinking that, Prabhupada said, if you love me, cooperate. I was just thinking that so many different kinds of devotees from so many backgrounds, we come together. Can I get a glass of water? My my humble student. Thank you, Prabhu. Oh, okay. And it's just like we're a bouquet of wildflowers that Prabhupada's offering at the lotus feet of the deities. So it's an honor to be back here. I tried to come here in 1974, but my wife was a book distributor and she didn't want to stay. So we went to New Orleans, where she had a beautiful career in book distribution. So Mataji's name is Jaipadni Gopi. I like to remember her. It's, you know, I'd like to hear more about Mother's Seva record.
Well, every Christmas she was very fond of making all sorts of decorations for Krishna.
Did she sing Christmas carols with Krishna lyrics?
No, she didn't do that, but she would
Arctic
make nice
bells, sweet
decorations.
cartel.
Every devotee did that.
Yeah, my mother just passed away, and the reason I mention it is because she was vegetarian, and she had like 20 different auspicious articles on her body, that threads from Nishringa's garland in Mayapur, Nishringa oil from Germany, Tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda in Mayapur,
Wow.
Radhakunda Jal, Ganga Jal, and she had a developed spiritual life. She had a sadhana morning and evening, and had won several awards for excellence in religion. So that was pretty nice.
Awards for what?
Excellence in religion,
Really?
in her own tradition.
Wow.
So I just gave a class to some nice Indian brahmacharis. What happened was, I was at home on my computer looking at ISKCON News at one point several years ago, and I saw an announcement, temple opening in Pune. They were predicting 250,000 people coming for the grand opening, including the President of India. So I said, and I sat there and I booked my ticket. It turned out to be very fortuitous, because when I went there, has anybody been to the temple in Pune? The new temple?
I think Lakshmi and Sringa.
It's perhaps the most beautiful temple of India, with the beautiful paintings and the domes of the temple room. The deities there are Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra. It was just like magic, right? Shyamasundar Das, and chasing rhinos with the Swami, he says that, you know, we came to expect magic in Srila Prabhupada's presence and in his service. So it was a very wonderful affair. When it came for opening the curtains, I was way in the back. Everything was packed. And the brahmachari said, come. They moved me up to the front of the temple. And by the time they opened the curtains, I was standing right in front of Lord Nityananda, and the curtains opened. So that was special. Prabhupada says that Lord Nityananda hears the prayers of insincere rascals. One time, it's a history, everybody knows. One time, Lord Sundar, the temple president in Hawaii, he sold the temple and took the money and ran away. When Prabhupada heard it, he said, rascal. But I like that rascal. When Kalakrishna Das, when he was allured by gypsy women, he was rejected by Lord Chaitanya. But Lord Nityananda accepted him. So, we're very fortunate. I was there for the grand opening. There was a long line of men and ladies. It went out to the streets. It must have been 400 or 500 yards. And 250,000 people came over a 4-day period. And at one point, after things settled down, this young man came up to me and he said, "Can I ask you a few questions? What's the distinction between Vishnu and Krishna?" At any rate, we became friends. It was his 16th birthday. He said, "I've just been in front of the deities and I've made a commitment to devote my life to them." So we talked for some time. I bought him a lot of books and paid for his transport to the temple. He's become a very fine disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Vikash Maharaj, and he has a whole system of devotees that he's preaching to all over India. So we just did a Google Meet class today. One of the questions they asked was how to chant distinctly. So there's a thing I call extreme enunciation, trying to chant with great clarity. And so I told them that the best way to attain that is to make small sacrifices to Krishna. Can limit. Sorry, my one leg it's artificial leg. And one way to do that is to give up a little bit of eating and sleeping for in honor of the deities, and begging Nam Kripa, like Haridas Thakur. He approached Lord Chaitanya and offered prayers begging Nam Kripa. You may know them, but they're like the Bengali. He said, "Krip Kori Nam Rupe Krishna Avatar Nama Hoite Hoi Sarva Jagat Vistar. Rakha in Halau Tanhan Tavichma Janhan Rakadi Humoni Namamri. Jagajani Nam Dite Tavapatar Jagajani Maji Mori Koriyamikar. Amitu Adama Tumi Adama Tarana Ubi E Samana Patita Pavana. Achidya Sambane E Tumaya Mai Jar Bali Namari Eadamachai." So Haridas Thakur says, "O Lord, be merciful and appear my tongue in your holy name. Dance there constantly, O Lord, Gauranataraj. I fall at your lotus feet and beg you. You may keep me in this world, take me to your abode as you please. But whatever you do with me, kindly feed me the divine nectar of your names. You have descended to this world to distribute the holy name, so kindly consider me one of those you intended to bless. I am the most lowly, whereas you are committed to the upliftment of the lowest. So this is our eternal relationship, O Savior of the fallen, O Patita Pavana Dev. On the strength of this unbreakable connection between us, O Lord Gaurachandra, I beg you to shower me with the nectar of the holy names." Sorry. So I had some notes for class. Unfortunately, there was a rainstorm and a windstorm and blew them all over the place. But I was thinking about the verse that you spoke on last week, Yogi. Daivihi Shagunamai, Mama Maya Duratiya, Mameviye Prapadyante Mayam Tangtite. Krishna says this divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered to me can easily cross beyond it. So Prabhupada was asked in Seattle, what have you come here to teach? So I've come here to teach what you've forgotten. Prabhupada would often call us inmates. He did in New Vrindavan, he did in Hawaii, and he did in several other centers. So, Bhakti te mukti, a little Bengali phrase means bhakti is real freedom. Devotion is real freedom. Anuvriti Shabda is a sutra, Vedanta Sutra. That means one becomes free through sound. That our first darshan of Krishna in this life will be with our ears, not our eyes. One time Prabhupada was asked, why doesn't God just come and show himself? Well, because it doesn't work. Because he does that. Krishna comes. And still, Prabhupada says 99.9% of the people are Naradana, lowest mankind. And they're caught up in a psychology where they become institutionalized prisoners. They're so blind, they can't understand that they're in a prison. Demigods are like the trustees, have a little freedom. And we're all doing time. There's reports, sometimes devotees send me, in Los Angeles, Russia, of former prisoners getting caught breaking back into prison. Because prison's like a mother, and they want that embrace. 3 meals a day, a warm bed, hang out with friends, shoot some hoops. And this way, Prabhupada says, the whole endeavor of the material world is to become a first-class prisoner. That's what we all want. That's why everybody's running up and down the highway. Prabhupada would make the sounds, zoom, zoom, zoom. All the trucks rushing back and forth, all the cars. It's a passionate endeavor for they want the honey. They want the money, because money means sense gratification. They want to become first-class prisoners. It doesn't work so well because of all the miseries. They can't recognize. They're so blind. How unfortunate. Prabhupada was concerned about prisoners in jail, out of jail, because he was going to prisons in India before ever coming to America. And he wrote Puri Maharaj, who was in Vishakhapatnam at the time. And he said, Prabhupada used to go to Janakpur, Tahar's central jail in New Delhi. It's the largest prison in Asia. I think there's 12,000 men. It's built for 5,000.
Sounds typical, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's a pretty big village. So Prabhupada said to Puri Maharaj, he said, I'm confident of making these inmates first-class gentlemen by the process of Bhagavad Bhakti. Oh, there's a funny story. You know how Prabhupada got his transport to America? Everybody knows the story. You know how Prabhupada had a sponsor in Pennsylvania? Everybody knows the story. Do you know how Prabhupada got his visa to come to America? Who knows that story? Nobody knows that story. What happened was in 1924, Congress enacted the Exclusion of Orientals Act. They didn't want any more Chinese, any more Indians. They had enough. They built the railroads, were happy. But in 1965, they rescinded that act. And again, Orientals were welcome for whatever reason. So, Prabhupada could come to America, but he needed a visa. And to get a visa from the American Embassy, he needed a letter from someone of stature to submit. He needed a reference. So Prabhupada approached Dr. Radhakrishna, was the vice president of India for some time. They were colleagues, they knew each other. Prabhupada criticized them. But they were contemporaries. So Prabhupada approached him and said, you please give me this one letter. But in the mood of Sumati Morarji, who said to Prabhupada, no, Swamiji, you don't want to go to the West. There's no food there. What do you do? It's so freezing cold. And so like a brother, he said, no, Swamiji, just stay in Vrindavan. Prabhupada got upset with him, and he said, you're supposed to be a government minister. These prisoners all over India are rotting with no access to self-realization, and you should award some facility. Prabhupada chastised him a little bit. And so Dr. Radhakrishna said, well, I'll establish one prison program at Midnapur Central Jail, and we'll see how things go there. And then we'll talk about your letter of reference. Prabhupada said, very good, very good. So Prabhupada went to Midnapur and had a program for all the inmates. Of course, it was a great success. The prisoners liked it, the administrators liked it, the prison guards liked it, Prabhupada's kirtan. And so the report got back to Dr. Radhakrishna, and he gave him a letter of recommendation, which Prabhupada then took to the American Embassy. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Without that letter of recommendation, we'd be in a big trouble. Now everything's changed in India. They're a little sensitive in South India and Bengal, but it's getting better in Bengal. But in India, when I go there, I go to a temple, and I can tell the boys, let's go to jail. And they'll say yes. And they'll call the prison, and we can go to the prisons throughout India. So we were in Vrindavan, we did that. We went to Mathura jail where Krishna appeared. It's pretty nice, huh? Go to the prison where Krishna. There were ladies there. It was a co-ed program. It was very nice. They had their children. Ladies participated. And then we went to Agra. And we cleared security, made sure that they didn't have any cell phones. They don't like that. I guess they throw cell phones over the wall. It's a big problem. Everybody's getting cell phones into the prisoners. I don't know how they recharge them, but they do. So we went in, and the devotee said to me, first we'll go see the go shop. I said, oh, how do you go? We'll go see the go shop. Okay, so we went to see the go shop. And the go shop looked like Krishna's cows in Gokul. They were so beautiful and so clean. They were being taken care of 24/7 by the inmates. And they were all different colors, and they were the most beautiful herd of cows. I said, where'd you get these cows? He said, well, we caught a guy stealing them, so we threw him in jail and kept the cows. And so as he's talking to me, I see two green bushes, bigger than this, big, perfectly round bushes, the most beautiful tulsi. I said, who takes care of, oh yes, the inmates take care of tulsi. Things are pretty nice jail to be in. Mm. So he kept walking, and it really looked like Gokula. There were banana trees and palm trees, and flower trees. And I said, what's that to the side? He said, that's spinach. I go, what's that? And he goes, that's some other vegetable. They're growing vegetables on the sidewalk. We keep walking, there's an open-air mandir, Vrindavan-style mandir, about the size of a train car, and they're having kirtan right there. Some inmates are just having kirtan like Giri, just like it's what they do every day. And with Dalak and Kartals. I looked in front, I saw a 30 by 40 inch picture of Krishna Balaram. And then Gornitai, Radhesham. Pretty nice prison. So we kept walking, and there's about a 30-foot wall, a small door, and I heard kirtan. It was very beautiful. I said, oh, so they pipe in this music so everybody can hear. He said, no, that's kirtan. It's going on right now. Let's go. And so we go through, and there's a stage, and the inmates are having kirtan just as we just had kirtan. Very beautiful. About 1,000 inmates in a courtyard under neem trees. It looked like the sages of Naimisharanya, long beards and turbans. And this is what can be done in India. And why should we neglect any prisoners? I mean, who's not a prisoner? Who's not on death row? But Prabhupada woke us up to this reality. You no longer have to accept a prison condition. In fact, it's like Prabhu Dhananda Saraswati says, Vishwapuram Sukhayate, that there's nothing but happiness throughout the universe. And that's by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Bhagavatam says, Krishna says, Dukhalayam Shashvatam, that there's nothing, it's the temporary place and there's nothing but misery. For those who are actually prisoners, that's a fact. But for those in the fired up in the Sankirtan mission, Vishwapura Sukhayate, there is nothing but happiness. Prabhupada said he was walking in Vrindavan, and he was talking about the wood and how fire can be evoked from the dry wood. And anyways, he said we're not Mayavadis. There's all different kinds of spirit. In relation to that example, at any rate, he said everything's spirit. We're not Mayavadis. There's all gradations of spirit. The gradations of everything. Mahabhagavatas, Brahman, Prasad, Mahaprasad, Mahaprasad. So I talked to them, I said, here we are in Agra, which is the place of the Taj Mahal. I said, I haven't come to Agra to see the Taj Mahal. I said, I've been here many times, I haven't seen the Taj Mahal one time. So no interest in this unfortunate place. If you know the story of Taj Mahal, it's very unfortunate. And I said, I've come here to see all of you. How do you go? How do you go? I mean, who comes to Agra to see the prisoners? And these men, after kirtan, after the program, they came up. We were ready to give them all free books. But they came up with their own rupees, a small amount of rupees that they get, and purchased books themselves. So how fortunate Prabhupada has made us, isn't it, that he's created all of our good fortune? To be sitting here together in this beautiful place. I don't hear any traffic. Radha and Krishna are right here. Good association, nice kirtan. Giri just cleaned the whole temple room. The Pujaris are they love Krishna, you can see it. And we have Srila Prabhupada. One time, Prabhupada, you know the story, where he, Tamal Krishna Goswami, he was getting an operation in Mumbai, and had the operation. Prabhupada came to the place, the hospital, and when Tamal Krishna Goswami opened his eyes, there was Prabhupada in front of him. Oh, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada said, I came quickly. I wanted you to have the operation in America. But you've had it, and it seems to be okay. Yes, Srila Prabhupada. But Srila Prabhupada, I had a dream when I was under anesthesia. I dreamt that you had to make a report of your preaching activities in the West to all the great acharyas. Bhakti Santa Saraswati, Bhakti Vinod, Rupa Goswami, and the others. And they asked, how are the people that you preach to in the West? Srila Prabhupada, this is from the dream. Prabhupada said that, well, they're dull-headed, sensual, foolish, misguided, but they have my followers, my disciples. They have one good quality. A good quality is that they have full faith in me. So that's the measure of advancement. How strong, how unbreakable is your faith? Some come and some have gone. I saw in Vrindavan when I was there in '76. Some of the boys were asking me to go talk to the Radhakunda Babajis. I said, no, I have everything I need right here. They went to go see the Radhakunda Babajis, never to be seen again. Prabhupada condemned one of them. He really got upset with them. So thank you for putting up with me. I think I'll put up with you if you put up with me. One time a girl approached Prabhupada, started complaining about so-and-so. Prabhupada said, yes, I ask you to tolerate them as I tolerate you. Yeah, Prabhu.
Thank you for not going with the Babajis.
No interest. All glories to Mahanidhi Swami. He's above all that. Really appreciate his lectures. If you hear his lectures, they're very, very beautiful. And he talks on all varieties of topics. It's very, very nice. He's been living there for so long. I got to live there last time I was there. I stayed in Radhakunda for some time and had a room. It's very nice. What we were discussing the other day, you don't go to Radhakunda to frolic. You go there to take a serious bath, like when you're at the Ganga, and to respect the place and try to cultivate some love for Krishna. Prabhupada said, you can approach Radharani. You can approach her directly. And he gave us examples, many examples of prayers. And he said, my dear Radharani, please recommend me to your Lord Krishna. The good references. Very fortunate. So, Prabhu, you have anything to say? Any questions or comments?
Have you been any prisons in America lately?
No, not since COVID.
Since COVID, yeah.
Not since COVID. It's quite a problem in prisons.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the last places to open up.
Mm-hmm.
We had 3 pillars of the ISKCON prison ministry. Shama Priya Dasi, Muktikesh, and New Vrindavan. Shama Priya is in the Alachua. Bhakta Jerry, who's a former prisoner. He got out. He was a realtor and very successful businessman. and a great help, and then me. And so Shamapriya got pancreatic cancer, passed away in 2009. Muktakesh had some pains in his neck. In 2 days he was passed away. And Bhakti Jerry got murdered, and he was trying to climb up his stairs to his apartment and passed away, and then beaten or something. And then it just leaves like me. How unfortunate. But our focus is correspondence, and we send out a lot of books. So these wonderful books. So we're just scheming how to get books out. And when inmates get out, we send them lots of books to distribute in their cities.
Are they still allowing books to go in?
Oh yeah. But you have to be very sneaky. I can't tell you all the secrets. There's really a lot of restrictions. And you have to meet those restrictions without actually meeting the restrictions. But we do it all for Krishna. Yes, Prabhu?
I was going to ask how you said the quality of Prabhupada's disciples is that they had faith in him. I was wondering if there's any difference in faith between Guru and Krishna. Is there any difference?
No, there's no difference. Sakshat Hari Tvainasamasta Shastra. Prabhupada said, if you think of me when you pass away, you go to Krishna because I'm always with Krishna. Prabhupada likes to read his books because he didn't write these books. So Krishna wrote the books. Prabhupada finds new, interesting things there in the books. Like in the prayers of the personified Vedas, a long chapter full of philosophy. One of the things Prabhupada says is, the most important energy or potency of Krishna is Jivadaya, his mercy on the prisoners of this material world. Because without his intervention, without the intervention of Sri Nityananda Ram, we're in big trouble. What does Prabhupada say? This is nice. Prabhupada says, gentlemen, glorifying his Guru Maharaj, speaking to his godbrothers, gentlemen, had he not appeared before us to deliver us from the thraldom of this gross worldly delusion, surely we should have remained for lives and ages in the darkness of helpless captivity. Had he not appeared before us, we would not have been able to understand the eternal truth of the sublime teaching of Lord Chaitanya. Had he not appeared before us, we could not have been able to know the significance of the first shloka of Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the Supreme Godhead. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. One time I was chastised by a senior devotee. You, this, that. And what do you have to say for yourself? I said, personally, I have no hope for any direct service for the coming crores of bursts of the sojourn of my life. But I am confident that someday or other I shall be delivered from this mire of delusion, in which I am at present so deeply sunk. Therefore, let me with all my earnestness pray at the lotus feet of my Divine Master to allow me this power of recollection, that I nothing but the tiny servant of the Almighty Absolute Godhead, realized through the unflinching mercy of my Divine Master. Let me therefore bow down at his lotus feet with all the humility at my command.
What did the devotee say?
Actually, they apologized in a very nice email. I still have the email. I was a perfect gentleman. But it's my great fortune to be here. One time, so I thank you all for that. And I thank you all for your seva. It's a really wonderful project Prabhupada has going on. He has so many projects going on all over the place. The more you travel, I was traveling with Dhanavir Maharaj, man, I mean, the things we saw just everywhere in Europe, all over the States.
Did you go to Israel too?
That was before he had Parkinson's.
Oh.
I was with him because he had Parkinson's. Danavir Maharaj is a very interesting gentleman. He came to the movement. He was a handsome, golden child of Southern California. He was actually golden because he was a volleyball champion. His father was a volleyball champion. That's how he made his living. And later in managing and coaching. So Danavir had a big tournament coming up. It was number 1 and number 2 seeds. This is all relevant to Krishna consciousness. You're going to like this. So it was a championship match. And so, but the night before, the Wednesday before, he had met devotees on the Sunset Strip. And the devotees spoke to him about the nature of the material world. And they gave him books. And he read those books. And the match was Saturday. And the books all made a lot of sense to him. So, okay, so it's the championship match. There's people on each side. 2-man team. And he goes out and he looks around and he sees the falsity of this material world. People are, And what's he going to do? He's going to hit a ball. And he told his friend, he said, I can't do this anymore. And his friend looked at him, he said, that's okay. That's what you said. They're about to win $25,000. They were in the number 1 seed. At any rate, he walked away from that whole scene. And he became one of the strictest devotees in our movement, professor, PhD in Vedic cosmology, and he's written the Garga Samhita, which is an epic production. We must have that book. Prabhupada said we must have Garga Samhita, and Maharaj has produced it. It's very nice. So, I become inspired by sannyasis like Danavir Maharaj and Vishnu Janaswami, who shaved me up 50 years ago this month in San Antonio. It was 2 of us, me and Maharaj. That was the temple. And every day we'd take an old LA school bus that was transformed into a temple. We'd take it to a different high school, and we'd chant, dance, and feast. And I said, it's going to be the rest of my life. It was very nice. And the kids would come on all day long, and Maharaj would speak, chant, dance, feast, philosophy. What else could you ask for? What a life. So this is the life Prabhupada's given us, and I'm very grateful. It said that if you take something without gratitude, you're a thief. What are people doing at the fast food places and at home and other places? Just eating like dogs and cats. We want to rise above the platform of dogs and cats. We want to become actually grateful for the gifts of Krishna. All the beautiful gifts he gives us. Some are obvious, others are more subtle. But Krishna is giving us all these things to lift us up, to bring us together, to bring us closer to his lotus feet. Anything else? Yogi said to me, man.
Well, I don't know if you can go to high schools anymore. I mean,
No.
Nowadays it's changed so much from back then.
Yeah, they stopped us because we were too successful. So we went to the Alamo and chanted at the Alamo.
But then the reaction was it wasn't us so much. It's just how bad things have gotten. We're afraid of so many things.
What an age we live in. Anything else? This is a quote from the 2nd canto. I like this a lot. I'm trying to memorize it. Get all messed up with the wind. Prabhupada said, the need of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited sphere of material bondage and fulfill his desire for complete freedom. He wants to get out of the covered walls of the greater universe. He wants to see the free light in the spirit. That complete freedom is achieved when he sees the complete spirit, the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. And it said that in this age, Kali Kali Nam Rupe Krishna Avatar Namo Haiti Hoi Sarva Jagat Nistar. Krishna comes, but he descends in this age in the form of Namrup, in the form of his name. And we will first see Bhagavan with our ears, not the eyes. By careful hearing, by extreme enunciation, by begging Nam Kripa before chanting. Krishna is anxious to reveal himself. That's what we're together as a community for, to help one another do that. Thank you for coming. Mataji, Hare Krishna. You have a very nice son, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, nice boy.
Thank you. Very good.
The son takes on the qualities of the mother. One time Prabhupada was sitting in a room, his senior men were there, and he looked at him and he said, "Your mothers are very nice." He looked at him, he said, "Your mothers are very nice." "Shri Prabhupada, our mothers?" He said, "Yes, your mothers are very nice. You don't get good fruit from a bad tree." One time he looked at Shruti Kirti's feet, he said, "Your mother must be very beautiful." He said, "You have very nice feet." You can ask Shruti Kirti, he'll tell you. The face is the index of the man.
I've read that.
Yeah. Face is the index of the mind. Prabhupada was proud of his disciples. Young boys and girls, such bright faces. They had become hippies then happies. Prabhupada said, "I'm an old man. I may die at any time." He said, "But you are all young, and you have 20, 30, 40, 50 years or more to spread this Sankirtan mission. So please do that." Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to stay. It's not easy to stay. Rupa Goswami describes the waning moon of attachment, right? Near the Shringa Chaturdasi, around there was 22nd, it was a full moon. What happens right after the full moon? Then it starts to wane. So Rupa Goswami advises that we maintain our enthusiasm and patience and determination. Stick together. Don't give up your japa. 10th offense is 3 offenses in one, right? Not to have complete faith in the chanting, to maintain material attachments, and inattention. Or if you're finding fault with devotees, you do any of these things, you're not going to be chanting japa for very long. It's going to be dry. Be like, one day you'll just say, "Too much of that. I've had too much of that." Vishnu Janaswami told me, Prabhupada told him, he said, "Don't be surprised by those who leave, be surprised by those who stay." And he taught Vishnu Janaswami a prayer before prasadam, right? Gratitude. We know the one prayer. Prabhupada taught the other prayer. "My dear Lord, what am I and what is my value? What is the value of my things? It's nothing. I, whom eternal full of bliss and knowledge, have identified with that which is temporary, miserable, and ignorant. But you, my dear Lord, have given us this nice prasadam. But you, my dear Lord, are the most expert mystic, and as such you can change matter into spirit as you like. And as you are always anxious to accept the offerings in the hands of your pure devotees, so we are offering this in the hands of your pure most pure devotee, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada." Okay, so thank you very much. Any more questions? Then we'll be grateful for the prasadam that we're going to share together.
Jai.
Maha Patit Pavanadev Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai.
Thank you for a very nice class.
Thanks.